I'm Sean Barrett. Um, most of my life I had a disease called pulmonary fibrosis. It's a lung illness, and it basically translates to scarring of the lungs. The way I like to describe it is if you have like a Christmas tree full of lights and about 60% of them went off.
Okay.
It's like your lungs functioning like that. You know?
Oh, okay.
So whatever's lit up, that's all that's breathing.
Got it.
So my whole life I had trouble running, breathing, gaining muscle. I was on meds my whole life, still am. Certain things I couldn't do, couldn't go to high elevation. Just had it, like, and I didn't use it as a crutch per se, but like there's just a lot of stuff I couldn't do that normal kids could do.
Sure.
Anyway, the good news about my disease is that it didn't get any worse my whole life.
Okay.
It stayed the same. I was diagnosed at 2. At first, they didn't know what caused it, so it was declared idiopathic, which means they don't know what caused it.
Okay.
Then at 16, they determined that it was a surfactant protein C deficiency that caused it. So officially, it was not idiopathic; it was just pulmonary fibrosis. And there's about a 1 in a million chance you can get it as a kid. Normally, it's diagnosed in adults ages like 60 to 70.
Okay.
You develop it, and it's from breathing in dust your whole life, working around bad environments that will affect your lungs,
Sure.
smoking, things like that. So anyway, I got valley fever in January of this year, 2015. From whatever reason, you can get it in the valley. Anyone can get it. Some people have it and they don't even know they have it.
Okay.
It just affects your breathing. It's a fungus that kind of grows inside your lungs
Got it.
from the air, and there's like 20 different variations of it.
Wow.
So they never officially knew what mine was, but
Okay.
they just declared it as valley fever.
Sure.
So I started medication for that. Didn't really help. Had some like bad side effects, and then as they changed my medication, I was actually I had just started it, and then I went on a guy's trip to Las Vegas, ironically, for the weekend, and it was something that was planned, and I wasn't feeling great, but I'm like, oh, this has been planned, you know, I'm gonna still go.
Okay.
Let's take it easy. And as soon as I get there, I'm thinking to myself, man, I really do not feel good. I really didn't feel good.
Okay.
I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
So I was there for the day. We got there in the afternoon, and I pretty much just laid in our hotel room, like wanting to go home, and we had just gotten there.
Yeah.
And I rode with friends, so I don't have a car. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I called my mom, and I told her, my mom, like, I know when there's something wrong with my lungs, and I do not feel right. And she's like, well, if it's really serious, you know, we'll fly you back tomorrow. So I got on a flight the next day, came home, and we were thinking, oh, we'll just go to the hospital, get some oxygen, and kind of figure out what's going on with the valley fever.
Yeah.
And anyway, I go there to Scottsdale Osborne, and they check my heart rate and find out that I'm tachycardic, which is from a later diagnosed heart arrhythmia. So that alerted them at first, where they're like, okay, something's not right here.
Okay.
And they admitted me, which is something that I didn't think they were going to do. I thought they were just going to, give me oxygen, let me go home,
Yeah.
or give me a med. So they admitted me, and I was there for a few days, and then they moved me to Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale because I wasn't getting any better. I was getting worse.
Okay.
And they determined that my pulmonary fibrosis was, for the first time in my life, getting worse.
Oh, wow.
And when I was in Mayo Clinic, again, another couple of days, this is all in March, beginning of April, they basically determined that my lungs were failing altogether. So what they did was they air-vac'd me to St. Joseph's Hospital in Phoenix, and put me on a lung transplant list at the top.
Okay.
And they hooked me up to a system called ECMO. I don't know the exact name of it. It's an acronym.
Okay.
But basically what they do is they hook you up to this like garden hose like thing, which is where the scar is from.
Oh, okay.
And what they do is they withdraw your blood,
Mm-hmm.
take out the CO2, oxygenate it, and then put it back in your body. And basically, the machine breathes for you.
Okay.
It's almost like an iron lung, but it's not iron.
Got
And,
it.
someone literally has to be there the whole time doing that.
Wow.
So I was on it for 11 days, and normally preemie babies are on it for like 3 hours. That's like the most. The most is like 8 hours.
Wow.
So I was on it for 11 days.
Okay.
During that time, my body like swelled up. All parts of my body like got swollen. Not to be gross, but like I was in a lot of pain, but I was unconscious.
Okay.
And I was apparently like awake during all of it, but I don't remember any of it. There was about, like I said, like 11 or 12 days I don't remember in my life at all.
Wow.
Just crazy. Well,
Yeah.
like pretty much a week later, and you're like, wow, a week's gone by, a week and a half.
That's crazy.
And,
Yeah.
So then on the 11th day, which they said, if he goes another 24 hours, we really don't think he's going to make it. My parents got a call about 1 in the morning saying, we found a match for him, same blood type, it's the same chest size.
Okay.
Excuse me. And they're like, we're gonna air back these lungs to him. He's gonna get a set of lungs.
Wow.
And that was just, if there's anything to be thankful for, I just, that man or woman, I actually don't know who it was.
Yeah.
They really saved my life, giving me those lungs. So we had the operation, and it took a few days for me to get off the sedatives. I was on like the max amount of pain and sedation meds.
Okay.
So I was having hallucinations the whole time, thinking I was somewhere else. I had like visions of me getting like stabbed.
Wow.
I had a vision of like someone trying to light our building on fire. I had one of someone trying to like shoot me. And this is all like just caused by nothing.
Wow.
It wasn't like anything in particular. My mom thinks that the TV was on and like people talking were affecting what I was like envisioning.
Okay.
But like I was having visions of me being in like a different room altogether. It was almost, it looked like a hotel room for some sorts. I don't know why,
Okay.
Who knows what caused it, but it just was really bizarre and really scary because it was like a dream you couldn't wake up from.
Yeah.
So anyway, once that wore off, I had my lungs, I was awake, I was lucid, I was in a ton of pain obviously. Then I had to relearn how to walk because I had been in bed for weeks.
Sure.
I had to do literally physical therapy to learn how to walk with a walker. Every day I would walk laps around our floor. I'd do about 6 of them a day and then 12, and then I would just, eventually I got my strength back in days, but I was in ICU for several weeks, and then I went to the 7th floor telemetry, which is like kind of like the middle ground for recovery.
Okay.
That was where I was starting to get lucid, because in ICU I don't really remember anything.
Okay.
And
sure.
Then once I was good with that, they moved me into basically the physical therapy portion of it, where I went into rehab. It's not like rehab like drugs, but it's rehab for rehabilitation for walking.
Yeah.
So I did physical therapy every day there. Still was on my medication, but it was a lot of work to get back to just living a normal life. Because at that final point, I was really starting to feel like myself again, but it just felt really weak.
Okay.
And I was breathing a lot better, though. That was the thing. It's like when I could take that first full breath and I'm like, man, I can breathe.
Yeah.
I cried. I was so rejoiced at that. Because having like a lung transplant was something that we always talked about with my doctors when I was younger. But they said that if I ever did it, it would be planned, and it would be when I'm in like my 30s.
Okay.
So I never envisioned something like that could happen so soon, like all suddenly.
Sure.
But anyway, it was a crazy experience altogether. I was in there for 52 days.
Wow.
And yeah, I missed a lot of stuff, but I had a lot of support from my friends and family. Just had a million people wishing me good wishes and good thoughts and good prayers and good vibes, and I'm incredibly blessed to just be alive and to have the family and friends I do. But today, today's the 31st of August. I had my transplant April 9th.
Okay.
And I feel completely back to normal, other than just scarring. But
Right.
I mean, it's just the battle wounds.
Yeah.
I'm completely back to normal. I'm gaining a lot of muscle. I lost like 30 pounds in the hospital. I've gained all that back from eating right and exercising. And it's just, with that, I have a completely different outlook on life. I was always a pretty positive person, but now I really think I can do anything, and I'm just really thankful to be alive. So this is my lung pillow. I was given this right after my transplant, and there was there's a rule they wrote on there. They actually made me write it, but I don't really remember writing it. But it says no push, no pull, no lift, 10 pounds until July 13th. And I broke that rule so much when I was like trying to get up. I would always like use my arms to like push up, and they're like, nope, you can't do that. You need to like have someone lift you or whatever.
Okay.
And if I ever slid down my bed, I couldn't literally do it. They had to physically like pull me up because I couldn't risk like ripping any of the stitches. But that was super weird. So anytime I'd have to get up to like use the restroom or do anything, I'd have to hold it like this, and then I'd have to use my feet, which by the way were like weak as just like twigs, and I had to stand up and just like, oh, it was awful. But anyway, I slept with this thing like every night like this.
Oh wow.
And it's soft, but
yeah.
I had my mom wash it because it got a little gross. Not weird or anything, but I don't know. I've tried to be more selfless and just thankful for the life I have, because I think about it a lot. Like, what if I died? Like, what did I achieved, in my life?
Sure.
So I've made a lot of goals since the transplant that I want to achieve in my life. I really value my family a lot. My family they were so supportive. My brother and sister were wonderful. Shay and Brian, and my mom and dad were supportive, and my dad's girlfriend. I mean, they're unbelievable, and I really value family a lot.
Yeah.
Because not that I did before, but now I wouldn't be here where I am today without them. And my friends were very supportive. They hosted this like slosh ball type of game in my honor to raise money for me. And they raised actually quite a bit, which was cool. But it was like kickball, but like with like drinking, because they're just like
you gotta keep the cup in your hand at all times.
Yeah, I mean, and they're like of age, so it wasn't like illegal or anything.
Right.
They just did that, and so yeah, with the slosh ball tournament, they made this like giant poster, and they all signed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if you can get that all in there, but
yeah, it looks good.
They all signed it. I had this hanging in my room in the hospital the whole time I was there, and just was a really good reminder that I have great people in my life who, I don't know, maybe the person I am today.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, just other than that, I mean, I want to achieve a lot in my life, and I don't want to waste it, because you really only get one life, honestly.
Sure. Yeah.
And not a lot of people get second chances like I got, and I'm incredibly lucky, incredibly blessed.